So hi, I'm Tommy Frey from the Deep Funding Focus Group, and we are in a town hall, and today is Thursday, and it is the 18th of July. I am not certain what town hall it is for Deep Funding, but we're getting up there. Today, we're going to start off. I'll just tell you a little bit of what we're going to do. Rafael has a few words that he'd like to say. And then we're going to get into a brief slideshow, and we're going to do a retrospective look at the deep funding rounds 1 to 4B. 4 just finished, and we're not as interested in that because there's really no results other than the election results. The retrospective we're looking at are the number of projects that have been completed, the status, and things like that. So, Rafael, would you like to come up to the stage and introduce the kind words that you want to say and share with us?
For some reason, Ralph is not here right now. I think he's not.
Okay. Ubio, since you are the co-host today, would you like to come up and introduce or say a few words?
All right, yeah. Hi everyone. So today's town hall, we are doing more of a retrospective. So we decided to just look at what has been going on in the community. We've had deep funding round 1, we've had deep funding round 2, 3, and we just finished 4. And so as a community together, we want to look at what has been the impact of this project, right? So unfortunately, today is supposed to be where we start talking about the impact of the project, how many projects have been funded, and probably celebrate a little bit and showcase what we've been able to achieve. But it turns out that as we are going to be looking at the numbers, that's not going to be the case, right? It's an unfortunate situation, but what we really wanted would have been that today we would be probably showcasing projects we've done, we've achieved what we've onboarded, and try to see how deep funding has been able to achieve its goal as the goal of onboarding projects to the AI marketplace. Let's not forget that deep funding has one singular goal, and that singular goal is to be able to onboard projects to the AI SingularityNET marketplace. So whatever we do, we always have to measure it against that singular goal and see how we are actually doing. So today is going to be one of such days where we look inside in order for us to look outside. So yeah, expecting a wonderful conversation from each and every one of us, and let's see what we can achieve together.
Thanks, Ubio. And Ubio, please, as co-host, jump in anytime, interrupt me. You don't need to raise your hand. Rafael had wanted to say a word or two, but I think he had some. He's back. Okay.
Yeah, I managed to get back. I'm not sure what happened, but I'm gonna investigate and check if it was some of the draws or something like that. But yeah, I saw Ubio already started with the pitch. Let's keep it going. So yeah, please, Tommy.
But what I thought Rafael was going to mention, and it's something we've discussed in Focus Group 5 and the Deep Funding Focus Group for Round 5, is a special circle committee to improve Round 5 when it occurs.
Yes.
That's what I thought Rafael was going to inform
It's because I already said last town hall, I made this announcement. But yes, we started with the process, and well, to be more transparent, of course, we had our first meeting as the work group for the changes in round 5. Again, just to remember and refresh, we are going to get these insights that we have in this work group and bring to the community through the town halls. And from there, we are going to receive more inputs from the community, see what's feasible to do, and then we will go into the last phase of implementation of such changes. We are aiming for have this during the next 2 months, starting from the first meeting Tuesday. We are having weekly meetings for that. And yeah, when the time arrives, when we are going to have this call with the community to receive further inputs, we are going to do a vast announcement for it. Okay. Our first meeting went well, and we are keen to do a benchmark process on other grant programs. So we split the team. One team is going to do this benchmark and get the best practices of other programs and for us to assess. And the other group or team will get more feedback from the community, perhaps those sectors or those parts that are not quite clear from the feedback that didn't input when we first asked. So yeah, from there we are going to give our own. We are going to boil further and have it this final ideation process. Okay, so yes, it's a good call, Tommy, for giving more inputs on that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, thank you. And I am going to start sharing screen. And the one thing I would like to say is remember that we are working towards a I guess a decentralized world. We are though. Okay, so I have the wrong screen share up here. This is what I want. Let's try again. I am technologically inept for those of you that don't know that. This one. Okay.
Not new, it's the interface.
No, this is definitely me. Thanks for the kind words. Can everybody see this? And how again do I get a full screen up here?
There's a slideshow on top.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing that. I thought I saw it before.
Below your cursor now.
Your screen sharing.
By your right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there.
Slideshow there. You know what it was? I had so much stuff with this AI companion, which is a new tool we're trying today. It was pausing it. So what I wanted to say to everybody is we are working towards a decentralized platform. And deep funding is a big part of that. And we are, in a way, we are stewards, all of us, of the investment funds of deep funding. This retrospective look from part of the retrospective look, the deep funding focus group wanted to look at what we've done well, what we've done not so well, how we can improve, and to help Rafael's round 5 committee. So the first thing to realize, and as a reminder, what deep funding is. It's an initiative to seed, as Ubio had said earlier, the decentralized AI platform with new and exciting services. And the strategy is to seed the platform, enable communication between AI services through APIs, and to launch OpenCog Hyperon as a core service that can be connected to other projects. Now, how is deep funding? What is the mission to get this done? And with the funding and the projects, and we may have lost sight of this a little bit, and that's what this retro is about. The project should directly or indirectly support the growth of our AI platform. So as we go through this retro and we're thinking about things, focus on whether the projects and the rounds have done that. The other is the project needs to align with the mission of SNET by creating decentralized, benevolent, and inclusive AGI for the good of humanity. So the very first round, and this is a format that all the other rounds will have. It was May 16, 2022, not all that long ago and in the midst of COVID. 1 million was the USD reward amount, and there were 12 awardees. There were 2 pools, 158 wallets were involved in voting. And according to the data, only 12 AGICs was represented. I think there's a data issue there. There have been, out of the 12 awardees, 2 completed projects. More metrics, $701 were awarded, 495, about $500,000 were dispersed. And the average rate based on milestones, MS stands for milestones, is 58% in round 1. And that again was from May 22. Round 2 occurred December 14th, 22. $500,000 USD, and there were 17 awardees. Pool size was 5, 187 wallets voted, and I think it was 2 AGIX is what the data said. Apologize for the typo. The pools were new, tools, ideation, marketing, and existing AI. And those are the numbers of awardees from each. There's 5 completed projects to date. And when we say completed, it means totally completed, onboarded if needed. Some of these projects in the early rounds are held up by one milestone blocker for some reason or another. Total awarded for that round was 450,000. Total dispersed 333, with based on milestones, a 64% completion ratio. And if you could hold off on questions, make notes, and we'll answer the questions at the end. Round 3, probably the meatiest round that we've had, and it has a little age. It was August of 2022. It was 1.5 million USD, and there were 43 awarded projects. 5 pools again, 182 wallets voted, 24, and I think now we finally got the metrics fixed, 24 million in AGICs represented. Tooling, 5 awardees, new 10 awardees, ideation 10 awardees, marketing 10 awardees, and pay attention to this because this is my personal bug, and I'm going to harp on it a little bit. And I do come from a marketing background. Before you blast me on this, RFPs first time 8. There have been 2 completed projects to date. 1.449 million awarded, total dispersed 650,000, with a 60% completion rate on milestones. That's round 3. Round 4, beta. Now this was deliberately a small round. It was the first introduction to the new platform after we left that last whatever it was, where we had all types of issues. So it was decided to keep it small so the new platform could really be put through a test. So it was January 29, 24, 265,000 in awards or pools, 9 awardees. There were only 3 pools. It was downsized, 51 wallets involved, a little over 1 million AGICs represented if the metrics are correct. There were 2 RFPs, 4 for new and 3 for ideation. To date, 0 completed projects. Total awarded 215,000, total dispersed 66 grand, with a 37% completion ratio based on milestones. Round 4 just happened. April 22, 0 completed projects, which is to be expected. Again, a fairly large pool so far, 1.5 million, 29 awardees. I don't have the numbers, but everybody knows there were over 200 projects, and we had grown at I think it was a 50% clip. 6 pools this time. There were 1.4 million in Ajax represented. I didn't have the number of wallets, though I'm told it was down a little bit. 9 in the new pool, 5 in ideation, 8 in marketing, 2 in miscellaneous. By the way, first time we introduced this, and this was to kind of see if there was something going on we were missing. Anybody could apply in the miscellaneous. And RFPs 1 and RFP design, a new category. There were 3 and 0 completed projects.
Just to jump in, I think there were about 102 wallets.
Okay, thank you. I didn't have that data. So it did drop a little bit from previous rounds. So in total, that shouldn't say round 4. This was in total. There's been 110 awarded projects, 4.8 million in USD, and 9 completed projects. Ubio, as he figured out, there's overall from round 1 to 4B, it's an 8% completion project rate. Preloaded questions that we think about and have thought about is how to improve quality, both of submissions and voted in projects. Critical is what blockers are preventing completion, and hopefully we'll hear from some of the proposers from the projects. What critical changes need to be made going forward? And as stewards of deep funding, should there be around 5? And this is a serious question with a low completion ratio, with us not exactly meeting the mission statement of SingularityNET, which is onboarding AI projects. We're very low in that. Should there be around 5? Should there only be RFPs? And if there is around 5 in future rounds, what are needed pools? Okay, that's the end of the boring slideshow, so to speak. That's all the dry data that I have. I see Rafael has his hand up, and please step on in.
Just a minor, I guess, a correction there. Round 3, you put it, I guess, August 2022, and it was 23, right? It was last year. Just to not give the idea that, oh, we are 2 years and not that much projects done, but yeah, it was 2023. Okay, just a minor correction.
My apologies.
No
I did.
problem. And also,
yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, no problem, because as you might have found, Tommy, it's kind of difficult to have a centralized data source where we have all this data. We have plenty of things in the portal at this point. Many of this data I noticed you might have got from the summaries of the rounds that we have in the portal, which is a very good source of information. But this is something we were talking yesterday, right, in our circle coordinators about how to document things, and that's the way I believe we should go. Also, with the new circle that we are starting the creation, the data analysis, this is also going to push for better data registering from what we do through the rounds, through our circles, through our town halls, and etc. So it's another push that we are going to have better data, better information, insights, and ultimately better decisions as well, to answer questions as you did. Okay, sorry for interrupting, but just give this insight here that we are changing and we are willing to share.
Yeah. Rafael, it's no interruptions. I like, as you know, a very informal meeting. Usually I just tell people to jump in, but hands seem to minimize conflict in people talking. And And in data analysis, that was the perfect example of GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. Okay, my bad. Ubio,
Yeah.
please come on up.
So Rafael, I want to get the correction. Well, was it round 2 you said was 2023? Okay.
Round 3.
Okay, yeah, because I saw in the data that he also put round 2 2022, and one may want to argue that it was 2023, but he's right? Because it
The
started,
beginning, yeah.
yeah, it started in December, so that's why I felt like that data is right. So yeah, we've all seen the data. It's quite concerning. If I'm given the privilege to start the conversation, Tommy, my first question would be what you put in, I think the fourth question there. Is there any need for deep funding round 5 when we've not been able to achieve our goal so far? We have just 8% completion rate so far. Should we even be having a conversation on round 5? Should we take a pause? Should we change our strategy? What's happening? Yeah, I can see that Ken's hands are up, so maybe he wants to respond to the conversation.
You are muted, Ken.
Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Can you hear me? Yeah, great. Okay. In terms of fulfilling the mission, if that includes bringing services to the marketplace, a significant barrier that we're all aware of seems to be the integration of our services to the marketplace. In our project in round 1, we used half of the last milestone funding to try and get that done. We were going back and forth between ASL. And for my current project from round 4B, I'm kind of holding back on putting that service to the marketplace because I'm worried about, again, draining income for the project to onboarding. So I'm wondering what the status is in terms of easier onboarding to the marketplace, and if that perhaps will be a factor in evaluating around 5.
Yes, absolutely, Ken. This was the main factor on the pool AI services, right? AI projects that we have. And it's a challenge for the teams to onboard. At this point, we have 2 projects of full track there. Also, Kevin is with his company is also onboarding. But still, we have to have better documentation. We have to have a better processes and procedures for teams to be more to be easier to onboard. As we discussed in specific meetings with the awarded teams meetings and also specific meetings for awarded teams in the project pool, our team is diving in. We created direct channels of to attend these teams. So we are taking it very seriously on how to solve this issue. The roadmap, it would take around 6 months. We are in the 3rd month now to give it not a final solution, but a solution that will make your lives easier. I can say that, but also to have more integration from projects in our marketplace. Because again, as Ubio, Tommy, and all of us know, our purpose as Deep Funding and Grants program is to onboard AI, decentralized AI service in our marketplace, right? But it's been, we are working on it, and we are closer than before, definitely, to solve this issue, okay? And please, if you are not, I believe you are, I think I put you in contact with Mike, but if you are not, reach me out in Mattermost, and then I can put you directly in contact with them to onboard your project as well.
Thank you,
We'll
Rafael.
work on it.
Thank you, Ken. Good input. And Rafael, I want to put you back on the spot again because we've had this conversation in the focus group and in all circles, and probably some other halls. And the platform or the circle that Ubio's heading up with about attracting developers. How many projects have actually been onboarded into the platform? Do you have that number?
Yeah, we have, well, we can open here and have it the current number, right? In our portal, which is
So maybe there's a context to that question, Raf. I mean, directly from the deep funding, I think there are about 86 projects on the
exactly around that
marketplace, right? But we're talking about from deep from
the funded ones. We have at this point 2. Here goes another point, and I am completely transparent about it. We get back about that situation. We talked about data and how this information flows around deep funding, community, SingularityNET ecosystem, and etc. Right? I do have the contact and I participate in the discussion as well in these onboarding groups via chat and also meetings. But we don't have this as clear or as with the proper announcement as I would like. I talked to the marketing circle as well a while ago for us to make announcements in the newsletter, also in our social media when the projects are completed, to be more transparent and make the public or the community aware about it. But at this point, for these specifics of projects being onboarded, we have 2. Okay, we are now that we jumped in, we dove into this situation or this issue. We have many in the final part of this pipeline. So they are going to be onboarded soon. For instance, in 2 weeks, we are going to have Kevin that I mentioned just now, also giving a breakout room here, having a breakout room here in the town hall to present his project. So things are moving faster than it was before, right? But at this point, we have 2 with more coming into scene.
Okay, great answer. And I want to take a step back for a minute. And I said, and this may be a little controversial, so and I have a marketing background. It's basically where I come from. And as many know, I came over from Cardano, and the people that wrote the papers on Cardano wanted marketing to be the #1 budget item. But once the project was mature and had something to market. Now, we've given away in the last few rounds a lot of money on marketing, for marketing, and we only have 2 products in the store, so to speak. What are we marketing? It seems to me, and this is my personal viewpoint, this is not deep funding, this is nothing other than Tommy Frey talking about. It seems that we are doing and spending money, investing money in marketing for things that should be being done by the Ambassador program and not deep funding. It seems that some of the money is going for marketing SingularityNET with the hocus pocus. Oh, if we market SingularityNET, you know, all boats are lifted in a high tide. It doesn't really work. We need to be marketing deep funding. And in my opinion, to market deep funding, we need products. We need products in the store, sort of like an Apple store, a Google store, or whatever. So how do we get those blockers cleared up would be my question. So then marketing has something to market.
And while we're thinking about that, Raf, I'm also thinking, so can we admit that probably there is something wrong with the way our delivery system is? Why? This is my opinion. We have about 9 completed projects. 2 out of that are the technical projects, right? And then we have about 7 that are non-technical. And so obviously it means that the blocker, while we speak of the technical blocker that blocks the technical projects, obviously the non-technical projects should not be giving us the same excuse, right? So what's wrong? Why are we not also having the same completion rates or a higher completion rate from the non-technical project? we have so Tommy spoke to the marketing concern, and so what about the research projects? What about the other categories that are not necessarily technical? What's happening there? Why are we not also getting a higher this thing if we want to accept the concern of the technical blocker being documentation?
Yeah, okay, perfect. We, from both of you, Tommy and Ubio, we have technical projects and non-technical projects. I am using now to call these non-technical projects as the supportive projects, right? They are not the end point of the purpose, because the purpose is AI projects being onboarded, but we have marketing and many others that are going to support. And first, for Tommy, if we don't have this proposal or these projects onboarded, what are we marketing about? At this point, we are marketing to have more proposals and with better quality in our deep funding rounds, right? This is very important as well. We have to teach and educate people on how to do it and what to do it and what's our purpose and so on, for us to have a bigger or a larger amount of projects being proposed. This is important as well. So at this point, we are doing that. That's why we have 210 had 210 proposals. Of course, due to a lot of different inputs that we do. In the second part, Ubio, from your question, we have 2 and 7. I would like for that to show you something, all of you. I'm going to share screen here. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to give you the view that we have. It's still under development. A lot of things that we are doing is under. I am host. I am disabled for screen sharing. Can you please, Victor? Victor, are you?
Sorry, I am co-host, so Tommy is to make.
Okay, Tommy. Yeah. Okay, Tommy.
Tommy, you're on mute. Sorry.
I just made you host, Rafael. You should be able to screen share now.
Thank you very much. So I'm sharing here what we currently have, and give you an overview of our projects. The projects, as you know, are done by Milestones, right? Are proposed by Milestones. And here we have milestones done, not started, completed, in progress. On your left side, you can see the round. So we have round 1, round 2, round 3. Here, many 4B, which is the test round, and the last round. Now we don't have it at this point. So as you can see, things are going forward. Okay. By the way, all of these that you are seeing, we are also working to create a dashboards that are going to be presented and open to any community member to access and have this information, including the payments. So if this milestone here costed 2.5 thousand US dollars, it's going to be there, the date that we paid, the deliverable that was delivered for it, and so on. As you can see here, I'm not opening the tabs with these dashboards because it has names of people that receive it and so on. Also, the wallets and etc. We are not willing to share now. So stop sharing. This was for you to have an overview. Did you see how much green we have? Those are milestones that are going. We have many projects there further down, more than 90%, but they are still in need of one minor thing. right? And or other, they are going to finish. We do have proposals, for instance, in marketing that made 70%, but then those 30%, it was not possible to deliver. It happens. I'm gonna being able to deliver or to deliver this presentation in a in-person meeting for 50 people. And then they managed to get 10, 15, 20. We are not paying because they didn't achieve the deliverable. So it's not green, it's going to be red, right? And then they realize, okay, but we are flexible in some ways. Okay, if I do 5 times this and I manage to get the 50 people, can I receive the milestone payment? Yes, because you are bringing 50 people. But we are with the review circle team that we have. They are doing very good work in filtering and rejecting deliverables that doesn't achieve what they proposed, because we have this commitment and I would say obligation to the community. The community voted in many actually in all these projects, and we want the projects to deliver what they promised to the community, right? It would be not good or ideal or right to pay those projects that only delivered 10 people, the presentation to 10 people instead of the 50 that they promised, right? But the flexibility is the word here. We are all in new waters, and some people might think, okay, I think I can, and then they can't. And then we try to be flexible, but focusing in the KPIs that these teams proposed to be responsible with and accountable with the outcome. So Bill, just to give you, I showed this to give you and the rest that even though we don't have many completed projects, I guess we have. Tommy put there 8%, but it's from round 1, right? We had not that many approved or awarded teams there, but in general we have good numbers. I have to count here. I have the list, but I have to count exactly how many completed at this point.
Okay, thank you so much, Rafael. Maddie, your hands were up. Can you come up? Can you come up mute? Madi Torabi, your hands were up. Would you like to join the conversation? Kings, also at a point your hands were up. And you are free to join the conversation as well. Okay, maybe Rafael has said what Madi wanted to hear. Kings, what about you?
Update, we have 19 completed projects at this point, that 100% of the milestones delivered.
Okay.
Is it that, Matt? But no, but it's a very nice percentage of the total as well.
19, that would mean about 15 to 16% completion rate now.
Let me. Yeah, but you are considering round 4, right? That's. But
Yeah,
okay, we can. Yeah, but they didn't even sign the contract at this point. By the way, they are receiving this week the contracts for signature and starting the work on it. Some of them already started. But all goes to quality, right? We trusted a lot in the community by giving the vote for the community, the vote decision, the power of decision to these communities, to the community, for them to assess and say, this team, this project, it's viable, it's feasible, so they are going to deliver. We also have this ways to put in the balance here, or the scale, in order to understand why this 15-20% of the proposals are on. But yeah, it's a little bit higher than this 20, if we not consider the last round. Abdurrahman.
Good everyone.
Hey.
Thank you very much, Rafael, and Rubio and Tony. I appreciate the presentation. Actually, what I want to just ask, maybe in form of a question, is that do we attribute the new completion rate to possibly being that there are many projects being assigned to maybe uh, let me say, is it mean that 3 to 4 projects that have been assigned to a particular team on the previous side, or not really the case? Like, I just want to make attribute that very particular new completion rate to possibly maybe too many projects that have been assigned to team that has caused the delay in the deliverable time for them due to maybe low efficiency or stuff like that.
Yes, Abdurrahman. I couldn't hear you properly.
Is there anyone that got the question that might want to rephrase it better for us?
Okay, let me put it in the chat. I will put it in the chat. I'm sorry about it.
All right, yeah, you can put it in the chat. Yeah, it's gonna help us a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Kenichi.
Hello. Sorry, I just wanted to add that I think I could hear him a bit. I think he was talking about number of projects being assigned to one person. Maybe that's the reason why we're having delays in the submission and engagement of the people actually delivering on the project, because probably they are over swamped. I don't know if I read that correctly, but I think that's what I got from what he said.
But we are talking about assigning by proposers. So we have one proposer with many projects being awarded, and then they are overwhelmed with work for delivering, or are we talking about perhaps
I guess that's what it's
circle?
trying to be.
Yeah. Okay, this is a situation that we are, as at the beginning of this call we discussed it, we are working, we have this work group for round 5. And definitely one of the situations that we want to propose is to limit the amount of projects that you can propose. So the calculus can go in the projects that you have awarded and the proposals that you can make, right? So from a total of, for instance, just a random number here, from a total of 5 projects that you can have, if you already have 3 projects, you can only propose 2 more, because if you are awarded with 2, you are going to have the 5 in total, right? If you don't have, if you don't have awarded projects, you can propose 5 at once, or 3 or 10. We are up to discussion into that, but this is definitely a point that we are going to bring to this. I agree. The situation is that when we were using Sway, the previous platform, we didn't have the right tooling or the right features to filter this type of things. Anyone could go there and propose and be part of the team. And even if you only had your wallet and put there, we didn't even have to have your name. Now with the new portal, we are able to filter better these situations. It's still going to be a challenge to get to know if that person really is not working in a specified team, but it's also something that we can overcome with the right processes into it. Okay, so yes, if that's the question, it's something that is with our radar on top of it, and we are going to suggest some changes into it.
Yeah, thank you, Abdurrahman. I think that was a very, very insightful question, if I must say.
Yeah, Rafael, is a follow-up to that question, and we had looked at this back in for round 1, the review team started off. What about the proposers' projects that are not completing milestones or have a bunch of awarded projects? Is that equal to your 5? Can they still propose more? if they haven't been doing things?
Currently we have a limit. Let's put a limit of 6 months. If you don't deliver any result for that deliverable in 6 months, theoretically we can cancel your contract and you have to retrieve all the money that we paid before disbursement to your wallet. You have to get it back, right? So in this sense, we don't expect this. But if they are within the 6 months and they have 3 projects, we need 2 more proposals, right? Because they are still in a responsive way, talking to us and delivering. But if we notice, and that's an interesting thing as well, this attaches or is linked directly to reputation. And reputation is one of the main topics that we are discussing. We have awarded projects in round 4, round 3 that are working on it. And we are very keen to have this flexibility into this reputation system where we can adapt new personas into it. For instance, proposers would be one, and we can assess how good or bad they are. So they can have a score of 22% out of 100%. And then they will have this in the proposal. And when the community is voting, they say, this person here is not delivering properly. Or we can have a filter. So you only can propose if you have a reputation of 70 or higher. If not, you are not going to propose. And then we have the reputation calculated by the amount of milestones that they delivered. When I joined the program, I had in mind of creating these NFTs. So for each milestone that you had delivered, you would have one NFT. And then with the completion of the project, you had a specific milestone NFT. And then we could have this in their proposal, being like, military, when they have those badges in the chest. It would be kind of not related to it, of course, but when I ideate this, I thought, it's going to be like a soldier, right? Having those generals, having those, which is in fact something good for the community before voting to get this information and having a informed decision when voting. Yeah,
so
Ken, it might happen yet. It might happen yet.
it's a nice idea, frankly, it is.
Yeah, I am trying to push NFTs in our program somehow, and this was one very good way to put. I have other ideas for NFTs as well. Yeah, Tommy.
So I'm acting as a member of the audience right now. Quality was one of the questions on the slide. How do we, as a community, work towards quality proposals? And also in the last 2 rounds, there's been a little bit more of an influx of what I'll term as do-good projects. Should they be allowed if our sole thing is to get AI dApps up on the platform?
Yeah, again, with this work group, right, that we are setting, I have a list of changes that I would like to propose. And among these changes, again, it's my perspective, okay, from the 3-4 rounds that I'm involved. So I have as many of you, perhaps on the other side. So I see also some different information. It's quality. It's one of the 3 challenges that we identified in this work group. We have proposals quality. We have the reviews processes, and also the selection process, if it's for voting or other, but the selection of these proposals, it's very important as well, and it's a challenge for us. In the quality part, I see they interconnected. For quality, education, education, education. With education, you are going to achieve higher grounds of quality, because people clearly know what to do and how to do, and to give perhaps more strict policies on how to apply. The very own portal, the new portal that we have, already improved a lot of the quality of the proposals, because it drives a little better the proposer when he's doing it. So this is a first step. We are still going, which would be a marketing tool, this marketing proposals that are, the idea was to having these marketing proposals that were awarded to give this education as well, but we are not also avoiding to do this as deep funding program and ecosystem. With the quality not being that good, even doing this education, we have a second stage, which are the reviews. So the reviews also are part of this quality assessment, right? Then we can have good assessment to make it easier for voters to read and assess those proposals, to have a better voting, which also is connected to quality. I can have 1,000 proposals being proposed and only 20 good proposals with quality, with a high standard of quality. We want those 20 to be highlighted for the voters to assess and vote. How to do that? This is what we are discussing. It's an ongoing discussion with the feedback from the community, also the work group for changes, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Again, on my personal view and perspective, we have to be decentralized, but also driving a little bit more on these types of reviews. So having more different ways of reviewing, we can have different perspectives in different ways to assess really good, really quality proposal, and say to the community, hey, this here is really good. It's not only with expert reviewers, it's not only with community reviews, it's not only with one specific type of review, but with many types of reviews, and giving an ultimate, an easy and digestible review for the community to read. So, this is interesting, I'm voting for them. So this is the trick, right? How can we keep being decentralized and community driven without saying, hey, we only believe in this 20, you have to vote for this 20. We don't want that. We want to have still being free, because even if we are doing these many types of reviews, a community member can say, oh, this one here, you missed it. This is really good, and I want to vote for it. It can happen. We can miss something, right? So this is the trade-off that we have to have: quality and decentralization. We are still finding the way of putting in the same side of the scale, right? So yeah, we have Ken here. Tommy, I hope I answered your question. If not, please raise your hand again, and let's give another round.
Okay, can I answer now? Yeah. Just checking. Tommy, thank you for broaching this question in terms of should projects focus on technical, what is the status of do-good projects? And I appreciate having the opportunity to, with the way that you've delivered it, to counter that and offer my side. Of course, I'm a proponent of do-good projects. My perspective is that, especially these days, AI, it's important to have a connection between do-good projects and AI, because that's creating a place in the future for these kinds of groups who may be underserved or may not otherwise have access to developing their future in this way. And I don't think that there's a barrier or a great distance between the good projects and the technical side of AI. In fact, I think it's an especially fascinating area to delve into because you're closer to human needs and the human equation. And it's also a differentiating factor in my view with SingularityNET and Deep Funding.
Perfect. Yes, Ken. Yeah, good. Another point that I forgot to mention and benefit that I see in those in limiting the number of proposals, and it's directly related to what we are talking now about onboarding projects and completing projects, is that if you have a limit of 3 projects that you can have and proposals, you are going to run to finish your project. You are going to expedite it to be able to propose again, and then again, and again, right? So this is another boost that we can give to projects to be onboarded, because we are limiting the numbers that you can propose and have as an awarded project. So the proposal, we expect the proposers should be more driven in delivering than generating new proposals and being awarded again and again and again in this sense. Please, Ken.
That's an impetus for me as well. I have a project from R3, which is a really fascinating soil moisture project, and I'm working on the 3rd milestone presently. But for myself, SingularityNET provided an avenue for innovation as well as income after several years being autistic of underemployment. And so I find keeping the projects also keeps me involved in participating in an awarded members community, and it's a form of security. But as you say, I think this rule would be beneficial in that it's an impetus towards completing it quickly and then taking the leap to potential future projects.
Yes. Well, since I am open here, this also personal perspective and changes that I would like to see. We also can give another feature into these changes, which would be with those NFTs that we have. They also can have a way in the vote, right? So if you have 5 NFTs of completed projects, if I vote in you or in another project that only has 1 NFT or none, my vote would count more for you because you have 5 NFTs than the other. Of course, we have to balance this and try to change, because otherwise we can be, so can now have 100 NFTs of completed projects. How am I going to start and have, yeah, absolutely, Ken. You are very important for this, right? And we have to give chance to everyone to participate and be awarded, right? Not only those that are completing and delivering. We have to have new teams and proposers always refreshing this. But this is a situation that we also can discuss further into the right moment. But it's towards the completion. It's connected with the topic today, because if you receive these NFTs and reputation, and then you are going to have more weight for those that are voting in the votes that you receive, then you are going to be more motivated to deliver and onboard, right? So these are some triggers that I thought and ideated to have it. Clement, please.
Okay, hi everyone. Can you hear me, guys? Yeah. Yeah. So I want to speak to the NFT issues, but I think Rafael was quick to address that. Secondly, I don't know if this works, but maybe we could speak to the funding model that's being used in the Deep Funding program. If we can connect this to the reason why we've got projects that haven't even started or haven't been completed. For example, I have a project to develop something. The funding structure for Deep Funding is when you complete the milestone, starting from the very first milestone, after you complete, you get paid. So I've got a project and I've got 4 milestones, right? And then it's funded. Now the first milestone costs $20,000. and I don't have $20,000 to complete that first milestone. I mean, I'm stuck. And there is no way that I would get extra funding from anywhere else to complete that project. I don't know if this in any way has a relationship with projects who haven't even begun any of their milestones. Could we see the possibility of adjusting the funding model so we can have some maybe like stimulus fund injection for the initial milestones, right? That could help people at least record some progress. Well, it's something that we can ideate around. I don't know. It's just my personal inputs to the whole stuff. But we should just look around. I don't know, establishing a relationship between. I've seen that Roman in the chat. Establishing a relationship between the funding pattern for deep funding and the lack of completion of our milestones. Thank you very much.
Well, I would have agreed with that, except that I think that data that Rafael showed, I was very particular to check the fourth milestone, and I think it has a completion rate of almost 90%. So probably it's working, right? I don't know if Rafael can show us back that data, but that's the first thing I was looking at. I was looking at that milestone 1 to see what the completion rate has been like for all the funded projects. And I could see that nearly all projects had executed milestone 1. I may be wrong anyway.
I counted here only 11 projects didn't have the first one, and honestly, not all of them were because they couldn't. It's because perhaps the person just gave up, right? Oh, okay, I thought I would do. And this is actually, Clement, why we do this way. Imagine if we pay in advance and then the person just gave up on the project. Now we have to, let's put a small amount, I mean, considering what we receive as proposals. $1,000, $2,000. I will have to go through a lot of legal costs just to retrieve $1,000 or $2,000. And it's going to be unfeasible. And we probably would say, hey, yeah, no, it doesn't work. And now we might have people that discover this breach and start to do that, right? Just receive $1,000 or $2,000 and keep doing with different IDs, names, and etc. Of course, now that we are implementing or ideating, creating, implementing the reputation system, it's exactly to deal with this type of stuff. And one thing that I imagine is exactly, okay, now Clement has 5 completions NFT. We can pay in advance his milestones. It can happen, but not for those that are just starting. I have 2 situations that could go is, and please guys, everything that I'm saying here is, it's not a decision, or it's not that it's going to happen, okay? If I say that if you have NFTs, if we are going to develop NFTs for this or give some reputation style, it's just we are discussing, and it's not that it's going to happen. Just a disclosure here. But you can break your first milestone in smaller parts. So instead of having 4 or 5, you can have 10, 20. We don't have limits for milestones. By having 20 milestones, we can say, hey, I did this. It's a milestone. But remember that if you ask $5,000 for signing a contract or putting your team together, then the community will check and say, no, this guy is bonkers, right? So it has to be an amount that's that it's suitable for what you are proposing. So my suggestion always in this case are break your milestone in the smaller amounts, in the smaller tasks, in smaller efforts for you to start building this. I'm pretty sure perhaps you already thought about this. But it's on the team side to drive this and to do in a better way, because we, as Deep Funding, we have to protect the treasure that is from the community, is for the community, right? It's not mine, yours, Tommy, Zubio's, it's not. It's from the community. So we have this accountability on protecting in these situations as well. Yeah, and that's, I see, you perhaps start with a different proposal that you can start without receiving, and then we get this amount for that delivers that project. Oh, now I have money, funds, so I can give the first milestone for this idea that I have that is very good, and then you go forward. Another point here, which is also under discussion, and it's very important. We don't want, and it's not good, to have only one way of doing the funding process. We are willing to have different sources or different formats to fund proposals. One of these ideas that we have is a process like or a funding format like the Shark Tank. This might be a situation where we are going to have a more centralized, or I wouldn't say centralized, but we can foster. Yeah, and you see here, can put a sad face, and that's the thing, because we have to have many different styles or formats of funding, because I'm going to have the classic fund, which is the one we do now for Can, but we also want to attend Clement, right? That's the beauty of the thing of having different ways, this diverse way. So we are going to have Can, that it seems it doesn't like too much of having this type of thing, but we also want to have Clement, because both might have great ideas that are going to thrive in our marketplace, and it's going to bring a lot of users, and it's going to push our vision, the SingularityNET vision forward. So we are going to create news. The RFPs that we are doing now, this format of funding, it's already a different one. We are detaching from the classic rounds, and we are going to have more and more and more. So probably this idea that you have can fit in one of these that we are going to create. They are not created, we are discussing. You are always very participative in our calls, Clement, so you are going to also be able to propose and suggest new ways of doing it. Then we are going to attend proposers with this particular challenge. Okay, Ayo.
Oh yes, thank you. Very insightful discussions from all angles. I understand that. I mean, what you presented, Rafael, is still work in progress. But even at that, it's very, very rich. And I was just wondering if there is a fraction of completion between technical project and non-technical projects, that those projects that we call support projects, as well. That is just curiosity for me, Joe. So I wonder if there's a fraction. What's the fraction for the rate for completion for technical and non-technical? I mean,
I would have
right
to
now.
go on.
All right, please. I was just saying that. I mean, I understand that some have not been onboarded, but I'm not even talking about to the point of being onboarded. I'm just talking general forward movement on the projects generally. How much greens for non-technical and some like that?
No, that's a very good question, and yeah, I don't have the answer here, but I do have the numbers, so I can do the calculation and the math here to check this percentage in the total. But again, just to remember, all of you, that this is something that we are going to have from this data analysis circle, right? That's why we are bringing to solve and answer all these questions and bring insights to us. So we would have this also connecting to this dashboard that we are doing through the automation processes of backend. We are going to have these informations in a more transparent way. So yeah, you would be able to check by yourselves. I would have to do the calculation here, but I would say that it's 1 to 6, 1 technical for 5, 6 business or supportive proposals or projects being done.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Rafael.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for the question. Abdurrahman, please, you are muted.
Thank you very much, Rafael. Can anybody hear me clearly now? Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to contribute to, I actually want to ask the same question as Ayo has asked now, because given the fact that we have this start of low completion rate, there are a lot of things that comes to mind might possibly be the reason, which I believe the question that Clement asked might possibly be a kind of a stuff that might contribute to that. So I'm just saying, for the technical part of the project, maybe somebody that is building a lot of things with a milestone, maybe in the first place, that very particular person was not aware of the fact that they have to build first before they get paid. So imagine such a situation whereby it has been approved, and of course, such a person could not be able to afford to fund that very first milestone, maybe to borrow money from anywhere or whatever the case might be. So, like, there should be a kind of a flexibility to that, in the sense that at least for the first milestone, maybe some certain percentage of the requested amount can be granted at least to start something at least. So, like, just in a situation whereby, okay, I'm not aware of the fact that I will need to first deliver before I get paid. And just like onboarded into the deep funding, and I got lucky, I proposed and I got funded. So it may be very, very easier for non-technical projects to deliver even without something like you mentioned that I want to onboard 50 people into the Singularity or Deep Funding program just to organize a seminar. So that might be really possible for somebody to do, rather than somebody that is building a kind of a technical stuff. So just saying, I don't know if there could be any kind of things that we can put into whatever we are deciding in the review circle or whatever group that we are working group. So that's my own contribution to that as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Abdul. Yeah, well, first, we can't change the rules in flight, right? The community voted, we all did this by rules. So for me, in a centralized way, because a specific case, which we can sit and discuss alternatives for all of you to start your projects if this is a problem, we definitely can. But one thing that we can't do is to go against the rules now. And this is much on the side of the teams. The rules are there. I'm sharing here. I hope all of you can read. And here is milestones payment. Disbursements will be made per milestone and only after the team's delivered outcome is approved by the review circle, following the process specified here, which takes to our Git book and the circle instructions. So it's here that you only receive the payment after you deliver and the deliverable is accepted or approved by the review circle, right? I'm not saying that we are not going to pay attention to these particular cases of if it's your case and Clement's and anyone other. We can sit and have a call and discuss the alternatives that we can bring, but we can't now, after the teams are awarded and say, yeah, we are going to change. Imagine that this for round 4, okay, there were teams that weren't awarded, so now we change the rules, and then they will say, hey, right, what's going on here? I wasn't awarded, I could be awarded, so it can become an issue where I propose the way I know I'm going to be selected, and then I change the rules for some instances that I can't deliver. It's very dangerous for doing that, and it's not that fair to those that applied but weren't selected. Okay. Yeah. So Clement, please. You are muted. I'm not sure if you are trying to say something.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, I think I did lose my chain of thought. What have I done? Okay, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I think maybe we should come out maybe like a little bit clear with guidelines on how awarded teams can communicate challenges right now. If you remember, Raf, when I needed to propose my completed ideation projects, I reached out to you if you could make reference to someone who could help me, develop some kind of prediction. And you did that, right? And then I'll be utilizing that moving to this new projects phase. So maybe, I don't know if teams are not really attuned with the existing structures to which they can communicate challenges. People get to find out mind-blowing information on what's required of their project later on, maybe after the community has voted and you discover that there's a certain milestone that needs a certain expertise, and then you cannot source for that expertise, which of course can be a very significant factor that impedes the progress of that project. So maybe something else could, come up as a solution for that.
Perfect, Clement. Yes, this is very important, and I'm going to do a marketing as well now for this. I've been pitching for the awarded team circle for a while now, where we would have awarded teams members, a certain number of awarded teams, handling situations like this. So this would be the perfect case, for instance, for some proposals to, hey, we are facing this is becoming something that is recurrent, so let's discuss with the community deep funding. So we have this body of awarded team members that's going to ideate, dialogue with the deep funding and say, hey, you see this, we could do in this way, would be better. Actually, I invited, for instance, for the work group for the changes in round 5, I invited awarded team member, proposer, exactly to have this perspective as well for those that applied. And but it could be from this awarded team circle, right? And if I'm not mistaken, Clement, you already said that you would like to participate as well in this circle, which is an ongoing process. It doesn't get that traction at this point. I would love to see it very, the circle more engaged. And of course, it's not up to you that, right? I'm just mentioning here, you already did your part and said, hey, I could participate as well, which was very good. But yeah, that's one of the channels. The other channel is by using Mattermost. We have the awarded channels, awarded teams channel, which is open for you. You can use as much as you would like to, and dialogue with other teams and say, hey, I have this issue here. Anyone else having this issue? So let's discuss, because better than bringing many times the problem is to bring the solution, right? For us to be quicker in doing. And you can discuss together and then discuss with deep funding as well, community and etc. So yeah, it's important to have this channel. Sometimes reaching out directly to me, I am with a lot of things and I can't give the ideal time for the situation, but I am always being open for you, any of you, just message me. It can take 1, 2, 3 days, but ultimately I will be there to talk to you. But it's another way. Go to the awarded teams channel, find people that has the same problem that you have, discuss around it, try to find a solution, a proper solution, and also put me in the loop. I would be very pleased to work with you.
Yeah, Ralph, that's excellent, man. I think you did a great marketing job there. But I would also say, I mean, it's useful because it could be a form of letting people know what services are available, that they could, need to complete their projects. For example, we could have certain services that are already available on the AI marketplace for SingularityNET, and we get to connect these teams that, oh, this services is available. So in one way, we're actually bringing utility to the existing product to the marketplace while empowering other teams to complete their milestones. So it's more like a double gain for us, and it's a great thing to do.
Yep. It's very, very, yeah, it's good to see that you guys saw some utility for this awarded team circle, which I've been willing to form a while now.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you,
did
Con.
personally. I did. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Any more? And another point on that, we are working in a lot of fronts, right, as Deep Funding. And one of these is our community website as well. That's going to be a very good point of contact for collaboration. And I'm not saying only for this situation, oh, I have this problem, let's get together and solve the problem. It is as well. But for collaboration, if you have a project and your colleague, your peer has a project that fits yours, you can go there and connect the projects. Or if you are proposing the same type or the same idea that others are proposing, you can collaborate in one only team with a stronger proposal and submit a stronger proposal in the rounds. So this is another tool that we are developing for the community to have these situations to be frictionless, right? In such situations. Collaboration is a key word for this community portal. Okay. Rubio, Tommy,
Yeah,
Victor.
I'm enjoying the conversation and how the direction it has turned up to. Yeah, so for me, I think it's cool. It's satisfying to know that I think as a community we needed to get that satisfaction that we might not have all projects completed. We might be having a low completion rate, but a lot is happening at the background. And yeah, so it's quite satisfying to know this. And that's just me from my own perspective. And I guess probably everyone that turned up to this particular meeting would probably be having that same feeling. Yeah, okay, a lot is happening and we are not just folding hands and just allowing things to go haywire. So I think that's the feeling from my side, Tommy.
No, I'm very gratified for the input from the community. Some of the questions changed direction a little bit. The thing about a grant program of getting money before you deliver is something we've wrestled with and will continue to wrestle. There is always the Deep Funding Academy for education to help you figure out how to adjust your milestones if needed. So there are processes there. And this is a continuing evolution. Remember, we've only gone through round 4 of what we expect to be many. 5 will be different. The RFPs will be different. But we are at the half past hour mark, and in recognition of everybody's time, I would like to not say too much anymore. And I see a hand up, and see if there's any last minute questions or pointers from other people in the audience. Mayor.
Yeah, I wanted to just add that, like Zaris mentioned in the beginning of this call concerning onboarding projects into the marketplace. I was going through milestones submitted today, and I noticed that AMA, I think from round 3, 9 new projects, 9, he submitted more like his last deliverable today, and the deliverable was like he has successfully onboarded his project in the marketplace. I don't know how possible that is, but I checked the link, and yeah, his project is actually onboarded in the marketplace. So probably the whole thing is fixed. I don't know if it's worth checking out, but yeah, that's what I just wanted to add.
Yeah, thank you. Very good information, Victor, indeed. And that's also result of this work, proactive work that we are doing. I think 2 days ago, one of the proposers reached out to me and say, Rafael, I am in the point of onboarding. What I do? So I put the person in contact with Mike, which is the lead of the onboarding team in SingularityNET, and they started to discuss about this, and then they go. So we are now being more driven and attending personalized in a personalized way each of these people. And in parallel, we are creating a framework that is going to hopefully attend all the proposers and proposals and projects that are going to be onboarded in a seamless way and in a frictionless way. The ideal word would be one-click upload, right? So you get there, upload my project, and then boom, it's done. We are not that close yet, but it's the goal of where we are willing to be. Okay, well, Tommy.
Yeah, one question before we leave. It was on the slide, and Ken, I'm not against do good projects by any means. Actually, my son had one in, so not against them. I was just trying to be a little bit of a devil's advocate. But the question was, we had 5 pools this round. If we go to round 5, what pools does the community think are mandatory, and what pools might be nice to have? Kind of like a I need it versus I want it.
This is for the audience, right? To answer now.
I think ideation and new proposals are definitely essential. I'm especially fond of the ideation proposals because there we can experiment and propose ideas. Of course, I understand, and I'm glad for the devil's advocate approach you took because it gave me a chance to talk to that, and I understood it right away. I would like to have something that is more protective of cultural and do good projects within it, because it's a very technical heavy medium that we're working in, but there's a lot of nourishment, I think, that can come into that from the human perspective. And if we are indeed working towards a beneficial AI, I think that can inform the whole process in remarkable ways.
I'm sorry to also play the devil's advocate here. Do you think that is suitable for a round or that's suitable for an RFP?
I think it's suitable for a round. I think the RFP, while I understand the value of trying to define what these are, I think it's also just a way that ends up delaying the experimentation and what emerges from the process of trying to create this kind of enclave. The other side of it is that the proposals are growing and the fund may or may not grow at the same rate. So will the percentage of awarded projects reduce as the competition increases? So this in a way is kind of an approach to create islands so that there is an interesting variety of awarded projects. I'm concerned about it leaning towards too technical, and then we miss the opportunity to develop the humanities side of what AI will be and what beneficial AI will be.
Yes, good point. And that is part of the discussions. Go ahead.
My own suggestions, I was just thinking about it right now, was since you were talking about new pools or maybe removing pools and all that, I think we should now focus on how we can diversify the awarded projects for each round. For example, how many LLMs are we going to have, or how many transport projects are we going to have? Or yeah, so we should try to award categories maybe equally or something, so that we have different things that someone can actually come to deep funding and
So
do.
if
Or
I got that,
yeah.
if I got that clear, what I'm hearing is under the new project pool, for example, we are now going to have categorization and then award according to categories, right?
It may not necessarily be new projects. Like in general, we could actually categorize these things and award according to categories or something.
So that would be removing the pool theory and then putting in categories.
New projects can be divided into different categories, right? So we could just try to pick transport, pick LNMs, just try to diversify. I don't know, but it's just a suggestion that I was thinking about.
Yeah, the practicability of it is what I'm also thinking about, because we have hundreds of categories. Why would we choose one against the other categories and all that? So
Yeah, that was a discussion that I had previously after round 4. And I agree with Mayor in the sense of we should be driving a little bit more what we want to see. But then I also had the same question Ubio had about, okay, but how we are going to choose, for instance, that we want, for instance, a category that's going to be for metaverse in AI services and environmental and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and have 5 categories because we believe those are going to be. And then it's potentially a marketing assessment, a market assessment, right? And research. Now we know this area here, environmental or social, is something that it's going to be, I don't want to use the word profitable. It's not about that. It's about other aspects, but it's going to have more users, let's put it this way, right? And it's going to generate this AI economy that we are also talking about. But we would have to have this work before to determine which categories we were being driving this agriculture and so on, right? But it's also something that perhaps we shouldn't be driving too much. But again, I'm also bringing this into the work group 5 and everything that you said here for us to discuss and bring this framework with these possibilities for us to vote as a community. Okay?
Okay. I think awesome. If there's no further questions or comments, Ubio, Rafael, the audience, the community, do we have anything to add? Otherwise, I think Clement, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I didn't want to speak to that, Tommy, but I don't know. Tell me if you can remember sometime very early this year, I did speak about sub-categorization of pools, right? And then the question was practicality. Well, I think it would be great, but then in the long run, is it going to have impact on the system itself in terms of voting, or in terms of preference of community members? Because I may not have an understanding of metaverse or anything that happens there, right? Which means that I would likely avoid that category because so I don't know if this has a weight on a couple of other things if it's introduced. But other than that, I think it's a great idea, diversification. So we have lots of more services in different sectors in the AI marketplace.
Yeah. And I think one of the things we are also trying to look at, and again, remember, we're trying to keep decentralization or bring more of it in. So, but how do we keep from duplicating services? How do one of the goals was to not have 5 of the same things. How do we avoid that? So the subcategorizations help us achieve that. Good point. It's a really good point, and something I think that Rafael and the Deep Funding 5 team will discuss further.
Exactly.
I'm just reading Ken's,
Well,
yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
no, my last comment would be, I hope I was able to give all of you a broader side on what we are doing, and also for you to see that we are working in many fronts, including this dashboard to be more transparent. We do have the data, but it's not easily accessible. So we are building this. Let's remember that we are in round 4, right? And perhaps these 19 completed projects that we have, it's also because of this. We are too in the beginning. We are too much in the beginning at this point. So it's not only about learning more and more about the process, but it's also to have the time to projects start to being completed and delivered and etc. 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 So sometimes we might be losing the notion that we are in this first step of a grants program. We are not 5 years, 10 years program, which has should have plenty of completed proposals and projects. We are at the beginning, and from what I see, it's not perfect. Of course, I would like to have all the projects from round 1 and 2 already delivered, but we are going in a good pace for this beginning. I have to make this highlight this. We are going in a good pace at this point, learning, experimenting. We also have this decentralized process, which is completely different from legacy corporations, which has a centralized process of decision. So they might be more flexible and also direct into it. So and so on, so on. So I hope that with this call, I was able to show to you many of these phases that we are, many of these processes that we are facing now, and improving the program. And thank you all.
Rafael, you did a fantastic job. Ubio, thank you very much. It was fun being co-host with you.
Thank you.
Everybody in the audience, thank you. And just to add to Rafael's closing remarks, we're small. We're a thin community. We are in round 4. An ASI just occurred. The merger of the 3 units. We don't know how that's going to affect us going forward, or how the community is going to grow. So take advantage of the grassroots system that we have going here, and this is a big part of it. The meeting's recorded. We're listening. We're fact finding, and changes will be made based on your input. I think that's fantastic. You don't get that too often. So thank you, everybody.